the Teach Yourself series from ViaGrafix, designed to teach you to use your computer the fast and easy way. With the help of this videotape, you can teach yourself Windows 3.1. Now, here's Kurt Gwartney.
Hello and welcome to this video tutorial, Teach Yourself Windows. I'm Kurt Gwartney. In this tape, we'll present the basic information you need to know to begin learning Windows. You'll learn how to install, set up, and operate in the Windows environment. Now, Kim Wilson and I will help you teach yourself Windows. Our computer is at the C prompt. We insert the first installation disk into the floppy drive and enter A: and press Enter. Next we type Setup and press Enter. This takes us directly to the Windows Setup screen. This text screen gives us general information on the Windows setup procedure. If we want additional information, we can press F1. To install Windows, we simply press Enter. Or if we want to exit, we press F3. We want to continue, so we press Enter. The next screen gives us two setup options, an Express Setup and a Custom Setup. Express Setup is the recommended installation method for most users. Even if you're short on disk space, Express Setup will propose a partial installation.
To use Express Setup, you only need to know what type of printer you use and which computer port it uses.
We will use the Express Setup in this tutorial. If you're an experienced computer user, you can use the Custom Setup to change the standard Windows installation. We press Enter to continue with the Express Setup. In our case, Setup finds our Windows 3.0 directory and asks if we want to install the new version in the same directory. If we're upgrading, this is the recommended approach. We want to keep the old version for now, however, so we'll enter a new directory name, Windows. We enter the path we want here and then press Enter to continue. Setup now begins copying information from our floppy disk to the hard disk drive. The progress bar near the bottom of the screen lets us keep track of the installation process. At the bottom right of the screen, we see the names of the files as they're copied. When the first disk is finished, we're asked to load additional disks. We follow the program's instructions and change the disks. The Windows setup continues until we reach this screen. Here we enter the username and the company name. We fill in these blanks, pressing Enter after each. We're asked to confirm the information and press Enter to continue. Now we have a different installation screen. This screen also has a progress bar, along with the name of the file and a comment about each file as it's copied. Setup will tell us when to change disks. We continue this process until the installation is complete.
The entire Windows setup process should take no more than 20 or 30 minutes. Also, the amount of disk space required for setup depends on your computer system.
A new complete setup on a 386 computer system takes 10 megabytes. A minimum new installation takes 8 megabytes. Our installation process is moving right along. Now setup needs our printer information. We can move through the printer listing on the screen by pressing the down arrow key until our printer, the HP LaserJet Series 2, is highlighted. We then press Enter to install this printer. Now we're asked where the printer is connected. In our case, this is LPT1, so we press Enter. LPT1 is the choice for many computer systems. We see a message that our printer is being configured. This may take a few moments. Now Windows quickly sets up some of our applications. We see the actual process on the screen. Setup now searches for other applications on our hard disk. If the program runs into any confusion, it will ask us to choose an application name from a list and then press Enter. After answering all these questions, the program sets up our applications for Windows. When this process is completed, we're asked if we want to use a Windows tutorial. We don't want to do this, so we hold down the Alt key and press the S key to skip the tutorial. At the next screen, we press Enter to reboot the computer.
You should make sure you've taken the setup disk out of the floppy drive before rebooting the computer.
Now that we've made it through the installation, let's start Windows. To start Windows, we type Win at the C prompt. Windows will then load, coming up with a Program Manager. Your screen may look a little differently depending on your setup. In our case, we have the Program Manager and the main program group.
We need to learn a little about the mouse. The mouse allows us to take full advantage of the Windows graphical interface.
Click means to press and release a mouse button. Double-click means we press and release a mouse button 2 times without moving the mouse. Drag lets us move an item by holding down the mouse button while moving the mouse across the screen.
There are many different types of mouse devices, but they all work basically the same. Your mouse may have 3 buttons like this one, or it might have 2 buttons like this one.
The left button on both types selects the items you're pointing to. The right button most generally means cancel. Notice as we move the mouse, the pointer on the screen will move. Moving the mouse arrow to a particular item or position on the screen is called pointing the mouse.
Now that you're familiar with the mouse basics, let's look at the different parts of the Windows screen.
The screen background area is the desktop. The 2 areas with boundaries around them are windows. There are currently 2 windows open on our screen: the Program Manager and the main program group. At the top of each window is the title bar. This identifies the group window. This one is the Program Manager. We also have the Control menu box. When we click this, we get the Control menu. Here we can perform several options, including the Minimize and Maximize choices. We also have Minimize and Maximize buttons located at the top right of each window. We also have them on the Program Group menus. Notice when we click on Maximize here, the main program group is enlarged to completely fill the Program Manager window. When we click on the Minimize button for the Program Manager, this group is then made into an icon at the bottom of the screen.
An icon is a picture that represents a program, device, file, or other application in Windows.
When we click once on this icon, we see a menu with choices including Restore, Move, and Maximize. When we choose Maximize, the desktop disappears and the Program Manager fills the screen. Notice that on the title bar, the word Main is in parentheses. This shows that Main is currently maximized. Now we have only one option in our main group window, the up and down arrow combination. This restores the window to the default size. But notice that the Program Manager remains maximized. Our windows are flexible. When we click and drag on the window border, the window is sized as we drag, actually making it smaller or larger. We see a dynamic representation of what the window will look like as we move the border around by dragging the mouse. Notice that as we cut off some of the icons in the program group, the scroll bars appear. Now we can scroll through the program group. When clicking on the arrows, we step through the window. When we click in between the scroll bars, the movement is made in larger steps. As we enlarge the window by dragging on the window border again, notice that the scroll bars are removed. If we drag on the title bar, the entire program group is moved. We'll click on the Restore button to return the Program Manager window to its previous size. Notice the main group will not go outside the actual Program Manager, but will cover up the different parts of the Program Manager. Spend some time experimenting within the icons and how to move these program groups. In the Program Manager group, we also have icons for other program groups. These include the Windows Accessories, Games, Startup, and Applications. Notice now that Accessories is highlighted, and it works just like the main program group. We double-click on this, and its window is opened inside the Program Manager window. When we have more than one window available or open in Program Manager, we can simply pick a program group by placing the cursor on that one and pressing the mouse button. Notice it doesn't matter where we are on the group. Whichever item we pick and click on is highlighted. This is the nature of Windows. We can click anywhere on a window and it's selected. We first choose Accessories, then Main. When we minimize Main and minimize Accessories, notice they are moved to the bottom of the Program Manager window. When we click once on a group icon, a menu pops up. These menus work just like the pull-down menus at the top of the window below the title bar. To clear a menu, we can either press the Escape key on the keyboard or click on a blank area on the screen.
We'll look at the pull-down menus in Windows. You will find pull-down menus in nearly all Windows applications. These menus contain the options available for working with the program.
It's important to learn the methods of working with pull-down menus if you want to get the most out of Windows.
As we point and click on any of the options in the menu bar, a pull-down menu appears. To use an option here, we simply press the first mouse button as the pointer is over the selection we want. In this case, we will arrange the icons. We can call up these menus using the mouse. We can also press the Alt key to activate the menu bar. The left and right arrow keys then move us from one menu to another. To move inside a menu listing, we use the up and down arrow keys. Let's look at the options in the File menu. We have several choices here. Notice that two of them, Move and Copy, are not as bold as the others. These won't work when we try to choose them. Notice the ellipses following some of these choices. When we select Properties, for example, we get a dialog box. A dialog box is used to provide information for you and to get information from you. Here we have a different type of cursor called a selection cursor. We can place the selection cursor at any point in the text, and then use the backspace key or delete keys to enter and type in different characters. Here we're showing how this dialog box works. If we double-click on a particular word, then that word is highlighted. Now, when we enter a letter, this letter replaces the entire highlighted word. We can also drag the selection cursor over a group of letters to select that text. Now, the next letter we enter replaces the highlighted text. We'll choose Cancel now to return to our menu.
The other menus, Options, Windows, and Help, also work basically the same way. We also have what is called the Control menu. This is the small box with a minus sign in it. We can choose the Switch To option, which is actually the task list, and we get this. Also, from the Control menu, we have the option to close. Next, from the Files menu, we'll choose New. Notice that it also has ellipses, so we get another dialog box. We can move through the dialog box using the Tab key. Notice as we press the Tab key how each different item is highlighted: Program Group, OK, Cancel, or Help. When we have an item highlighted and press Enter, in this case OK or Cancel might be surrounded by a dark black band. Whichever command is surrounded by this band will be executed. We press Enter while Cancel is highlighted and the dialog box disappears. The Program Manager controls the basic Windows functions. You can organize applications into groups and start them with the Program Manager. With this powerful application, you can design your Windows desktop to best fit your needs.
Program Manager starts automatically when you run Windows, and it continues to run until you exit Windows. In other words, when you exit Program Manager, you are also exiting Windows.
Now we're back at the Program Manager, as it appears when we enter Windows for the first time. Notice we double-click on the File Manager, and we're taken into the Program File Manager. Notice the title bar with File Manager. We can choose to minimize this, and now notice the Program Manager is still here. It never left. You might say that it was underneath the File Manager. Now we can double-click on Control Panel, and we enter the Program Control Panel. We'll move Control Panel now to the bottom of the screen by clicking and dragging on it. Notice the File Manager icon is also at the bottom left of the screen. We'll click on the Print Manager. Now this window is the active window, and we're in the Program Print Manager. We can move this, or in this case, size it, by clicking on the corner and dragging it. With all these windows currently on the screen, you can see how the program got its name. We can run multiple windows and move back and forth between them while they're all running. We can also change the size of each window. Remember, we can reduce any of these items to icons by simply using the Minimize button. Here we'll minimize all these: the File Manager, Program Manager, Print Manager, and Control Panel. Now each of these programs is at the bottom of the screen as an icon. When we click once on any of these icons, we see the Control menu. This is the same menu that appears when we click on the upper left-hand corner of any open window. Notice we can also drag our icons to any location on the Windows screen. This allows us to rearrange and manipulate them in a way that we want to. We can also use the task list to change between programs. We get this with the Control Escape keys. Notice now that we have 4 programs open: Print Manager, Program Manager, File Manager, and Control Panel. We can switch to any of these, or we can cascade them, file them, and we can also end this task, or we can actually cancel the task list itself. When we double-click on an unused area of the window screen, the task list is open. We can only open one task list at a time. Notice when we try here, we cannot open more than one. Now we'll close these by using the Control menu, which comes up when we single-click on an icon. We'll close all icons but the Program Manager. Let's look again at our options in the Control menu. We can restore this to its original size, move it, maximize it, close it, or go to the task list with the Switch To option. We'll restore this to its original size. Notice it's just as if we had entered Windows from the DOS prompt. Now let's open some more program groups. Notice they're placed on the screen, covering up some of the other ones. This may not be acceptable. We might need to see all of these at the same time. We'll go to the Window Options menu and see how we can manipulate these. The Cascade option, as you can see, cascades these items in front of each other and just below. This allows us to go through these with the mouse pointer and select the one we want. We can go through and choose from any active window, and we can recascade these at any time. Notice that when we recascade, the currently active window is placed at the front. If the windows are inactive, they're placed at the back. We can also use the Tile option. The Tile option places all the open windows on the screen at a designated size. Windows calculates and figures out what the best available size is for the particular use of the windows. Here we have 4 windows open at the same time. Let's close one and use the Tile option. Notice that the active window becomes the first window anytime we use the Tile option again. If we select Cascade, these windows will then be cascaded. Now we'll use the Minimize option on any of these windows to reduce them to icons. Notice we can also pick from the Windows menu group to activate any of these icons. We'll select Applications from the Window menu. We'll move this up a bit and then select Accessories. Watch as we minimize this program group. It appears as an icon at the lower left corner of our screen.
Program groups add organization to our window desktop. A program group is simply a collection of program item icons. Each of the icons in a program group represents an application we can run. Windows contains several default program groups, but we can also create our own.
To begin a new program group, we first open the Program Manager File menu and choose New. This brings up a dialog box. We select Program Group and we get yet another dialog box. We need to enter a description. In this case, we'll enter Custom Files. Then we skip over the group file identification since this isn't necessary. We press Enter and Custom Files Program Group is created. Notice there are no icons in it. However, it is a program group. We can minimize it and restore it. Now we'll use the New option again. This time we'll place a program item within this group. We're provided with another dialog box. This time we select Program Item and get this dialog box. We don't know the description or the name, so we'll use the Browse button. This Browse button gives us a list of programs. We can scroll through this list of programs by using the scroll bar. We can click on the down arrow to move down the list item by item, or if we click our mouse within the scroll bar itself, it moves up and down quickly. Notice when we pick an item, the item is displayed in the file name box at the top of the Browse dialog box. Here we have cardfile.exe. Notice this box also shows us the directory where we found this file. We can change the directory or the drive. In this case, we want to go to the DC3 directory. This way we can use any of these DesignCAD files too. We want to go back to the Windows subdirectory on the hard disk and choose one of these files. We'll choose the calculator. calc.exe is its file name. Notice that the description is left blank, and the command line or the actual program is listed. We then enter the name as we want it listed with our icon. When we finish here, we can choose OK. Notice now that the Move and Copy options are available from the File menu. We can also choose to activate our calculator. Now the calculator is active, and we'll close it. When we choose to move the calculator, we get another dialog box that lets us choose the group to move it to. The down arrow here indicates there are more choices than just the simple accessories that's highlighted. We don't want to move this, but this does show how we can move an item if we want. We can also move programs dynamically. We'll open another program group to demonstrate this, and now we'll cascade these. We'll pick the calculator, and notice that it dynamically drags. As the calculator icon moves outside the area which it can legally be moved, it's represented by a circle with a slash in it. This is the not available sign. Now we have moved the icon into the Games menu. Notice that the calculator remains there as an option, and if we use Arrange Icons, it's placed right along with the other programs. We can also move this back to the Custom Files program group. This demonstrates how Windows allows dynamic manipulation of graphics, in this case icons, to accomplish a task. Now we'll create another program item. We'll place the card file in this program group using the same steps we performed with the calculator. Now we'll go to the Program Item Properties command. The default name given to this was Card File in Mixed Case. We want to call this Card Filing System using all uppercase letters. We can change the properties of this program item. Now notice that the Card Filing System in uppercase is the name given to this in our window. The changes do not affect the calculator or custom files in any way other than giving the card file system a new name. We can also use the Delete option to remove any program item from any program menu. We want to delete the card filing system, and we answer the confirmation. If we want to run a program from here, we simply click on the Run option and then enter in the information in the dialog box. For instance, if we enter Card File, the Card File program will open and be activated. To close this, we double-click on the control box on the upper left corner. One other item in the Files menu we haven't looked at yet is the Copy command. By selecting Copy, we get a dialog box which allows us to copy a program item to another program group. In the Options menu, we have three options: Auto Arrange, Minimize on Use, and Save Settings on Exit. These are turned on or off by clicking on them. Simply open the menu and notice that the check mark indicates this item is currently turned on or selected. We can turn Minimize on also.
Right now, we'll just look at the Auto Arrange option as we turn off the Minimize on Use. Notice as we move the icons around here and change the size of the windows, nothing happens. The Auto Arrange option does not affect program groups. It only affects the program items within the groups. We move our icon in the Games menu and adjust the window size. The icons are automatically placed for us. The Arrange option will automatically arrange the icons within a program group anytime its window size is altered. This can be a very useful feature. Spend some time playing with this to see how it can work for you. Notice that you can take each of the menus and place them at the desired location anywhere on the Windows desktop. With Auto Arrange turned on, our program items are kept in order. When these are closed and reopened, they come back at the last used location. We want to arrange these in a pattern that allows us to accomplish the most things with the least change. We want the Custom Files program group up, we want the main program group, and we also want accessories. Now we'll use the Arrange Icons feature. Notice the program group icons did not change locations. This is because the Custom Files program group was activated. When we change this and activate one of the program group icons and then use Arrange Files, the icons are moved. This is an important point to remember. Auto Arrange only works on the program items within a program group. We've looked at Files, Options, and the window menus, but we haven't yet looked at Help. In Help, we have Contents, Search for Help On, How to Use Help, Windows Tutorial, and About Program Manager. About Program Manager brings up a dialog box which gives information about Program Manager. This box also tells us how much free memory and the percentage of free system resources that we have. Notice, we only have the option of pressing the OK button here. One common item on many Windows menus is Help. Help is a quick way to find information while working in Windows. You can search, browse, or use an index to retrieve just the help you need. Back at the Help menu, we'll choose the Contents option. Notice the buttons: Contents, Search, Back, History, and Glossary. Contents will display this screen. Search allows us to look for what we need. Back returns to the previous screen. History gives a list of what we've looked at until now. And Glossary provides a Windows word list. Let's use the search function. Here we have a dialog box which allows us to scroll through a list of help topics. We can use the scroll bar just as we can in many other areas of Windows, by either clicking on the arrow buttons, clicking on the scroll bar, or by dragging the box in the scroll bar. We can also enter options under the search for topics. We'll enter Creating Icons. Now Windows locates the options in the menu command topic. We go ahead and select this topic. And now we're taken to the Help menu with this topic. We can also define bookmarks in Help. The Bookmark Help feature allows us to quickly locate areas where we need help. Now we'll choose to exit Windows, and we're taken back to the DOS or C prompt.
File Manager is one of the most powerful tools available to the Windows user. This one application lets us manipulate our files into organized directories.
File Manager can be especially helpful if you are uncomfortable with DOS. This application allows you to perform many DOS functions using pull-down menus instead of the sometimes cryptic DOS commands.
If you've used Windows 3.0, you will notice quite a difference in the new File Manager.
Windows 3.1 features a split-screen file manager. The new version also allows you to drop and drag files. We turned off Save on Exit, so our system comes up the way it is originally in Windows. We double-click on the File Manager and are taken into the File Manager program, which is automatically maximized. Let's take a quick look at the menu. Here we have File, Disk, Tree, View, Options, and two familiar items, Window and Help. Notice the Help menu looks similar to the Help menu from the Program Manager. We also have About File Manager here, which gives us our memory information. In the left window, we see the directory tree. The yellow file folder indicates that this subdirectory contains subdirectories or files within it. By clicking on the folder, we open it and see what's inside by looking at the right side of the File Manager screen. Notice that when we only have the C:\/ file folder open, we see the subdirectories and files for the root directory in the right half of the window. When we double-click on a subdirectory folder on the right side of the screen, the left side of the File Manager expands the root directory and displays the files in the right window. We can also now click on a subdirectory in the left window and then see the files inside this subdirectory on the right window. At the top of the right window is an up arrow. This is the parent directory sign. We'll click on it to return to the parent directory. We can further manipulate the directory with the options in the tree menu. For instance, we can expand this one level with the Expand One Level option. Now we'll collapse this branch. In the Atlas directory, when we expand the branch, we see two more branches or subdirectories. We can select Expand Branch. It won't make much difference in our Atlas directory, since it's already expanded all the way. We can collapse this branch if we want. We can use the mouse to do this, or the plus and minus keys on the keyboard. The plus key expands, and the minus key collapses. Another helpful option is the Expand All feature. When we pick Expand All from the tree option, Windows reads all the directories and subdirectories on our hard drive and then displays them. Notice that there is more than one directory, and all this information will not fit on the one screen, so we see a scroll bar again. We can scroll a line at a time by pages, or we can drag the scroll bar box to achieve quick results. When we go back and double-click on the C:\\, it then collapses the entire subdirectory display. Now the files located under C and the subdirectories are displayed on the right. You might find the Windows File Manager helpful, especially if you don't fully understand all the DOS commands. Instead of using DOS, Windows uses its graphical interface for file management tasks. For example, if we double-click on any particular subdirectory, the files or the contents of that subdirectory are displayed in the Files window on the right. We'll move the bar for the split window to the left. We position the mouse pointer on it, see the double-headed arrow, and now we can drag the bar to change the size of these windows. With the File Manager window enlarged, we'll look at these files. On the left are the directories. Notice they are listed in alphabetical order.
On the right are the files. They're also listed in alphabetical order currently. If we double-click on a program file, that is a file represented with the blue icon file, we can open it. We can open several files this way. Notice as we click on Card Files, the File Manager is brought to the front, and the card file is placed over the top. As we enter the clipboard, the same process takes place. Now we'll minimize the clipboard. We'll also minimize File Manager to see our icons. Notice that the card file is still here. We'll minimize it too. We can move, resize, and arrange the windows until we have access to the programs we need. And notice it's again represented by an icon. And also notice that Program Manager has been running the entire time. We'll minimize it too. You may be wondering why we want to use Windows over regular DOS. Windows has several advantages. One advantage is that Windows programs have similar menus. Notice our File, Options, Window Help on File Manager. These standard menus make learning new software much easier. Once you learn one Windows application, it's easy to learn others, especially with the window graphical environment, which helps to eliminate those cryptic type DOS commands. Most Windows programs also use the mouse in the same manner. In other words, you select what you want to do in the same way. For example, we'll highlight cardfile.exe. When we choose Open, we can change to our learning diskette in the A drive. Select a file, and it will run in the card file. Now, if we choose Run from the File Manager menu, the same thing happens. We can enter the file name here. We can also print from the File menu. We see the file we'd highlighted in the file list in the print window when we choose the command. Normally, you'll want to print file names with TXT, WRI, and DOC extensions. We can change to the A drive here and select text.wri. We can cancel this and click on the icon to go back to the hard disk drive. Search allows us to search for every file with a certain extension. We'll enter in the BMP extension. The search is executed when we click OK. And here we have all the files ending with the BMP extension. Search Results is the name of the title bar of the window of our found files. We can scroll through this list like we do our other lists. We'll return to the Files menu now. We'll look at our next set of options under the Files pull-down menu. Our next series of options begins with Move. Notice this is also the F7 key. We also have Copy, Delete, Rename, and Property. Move allows us to manipulate individual files. In other words, we can copy them and move them to different parts of the hard drive. Let's do some rearranging so this will be easier to see. We'll go back to the parent directory by clicking the symbol. Now let's move the Windows window down. We don't need our search window anymore, so we'll close it. Now let's open Windows Systems. To move the leaves.bmp file to the Systems file, we just drag it up to the Systems window. We then answer yes in the confirmation dialog box.
Moving and copying files in Windows is more like using a filing cabinet. We can actually pick up a file and move it where we want. Windows lets us see exactly where our files are going.
Now we can drag the Leaves file back to the Windows subdirectory, and we get the confirmation box once again. We can see that leaves.bmp was indeed moved back to the Windows subdirectory. pbrush.exe is an executable program. If we drag a BMP file onto a pbrush.exe file, this file will be executed, and will use the file leaves.bmp as the initial file. We'll click on Yes in the confirmation box, and the paintbrush file will become active, and we see that Leaves file loaded in this program. Now we can manipulate this drawing if we want. We will clip and copy just a bit of this to show the program is fully activated when executed in this way. Now we'll go ahead and minimize this program because we may want to return to it. You can see that keeping our files organized is easy with File Manager. However, there are more commands we need to learn about in the File Manager. We're back at the File Manager. We'll use the copy command next. We'll call this new file test.bmp. When we press the Enter key, the action is completed. Notice test.bmp in addition to paper.bmp. A new file has been created with identical contents. When we want to use the delete command, we simply click on this. The highlighted file is deleted after we respond to the two confirmation boxes. In order to rename a file, we go again from our highlighted file. We'll rename this to the new file called autumn.bmp. Then we click on OK. The file is now renamed as autumn.bmp. We have the ability to go in and easily change the settings with the Properties command. We can create a new subdirectory under the Windows directory if we like. We can call this anything. We'll call it TMP. This stands for temporary. We click on the OK button and notice now that we have a new subdirectory here. We can look at the contents of the new subdirectory. Notice there is nothing in this subdirectory yet. The Select Files feature allows us to select files within a directory or subdirectory. We can enter the file specification here for the files we want to select. ** selects all the files. Now we can delete these files if we want. We get a confirmation box on each of these before we can delete. We'll select Delete for now, but on the confirmation box we'll choose No. We'll cancel this operation since we don't want to delete any of these files. We can deselect these files by choosing the Deselect function. Our next menu is the Disk menu. This allows us to format and manipulate diskettes. We can copy, label, format a diskette, and even make a system diskette from this menu. We'll choose to format a diskette. We can choose to format either drive A or B. We will select to format the diskette in drive A. We'll also change the capacity to a 720K diskette. We also have the option of making this a system disk. We'll click on this. We are then told we are formatting the diskette. We can cancel this at any time by clicking on Cancel. Windows keeps us updated on the results of our formatting. Now we have a complete formatted diskette, and it's a system disk. We're asked if we want to format another. We choose not to. To copy files from one diskette to another, we can simply drag the icon. When we drag the icon, we get a confirmation box, and we answer it. We can also tell Windows when to give us confirmation by using the Options menu and the Confirmation feature here.
We've used the File Manager. Now we'll take a look at some of the other applications included with Windows 3.1.
Another item on the main menu is the Print Manager. We double-click Print Manager and are taken right into it. Notice it is set up basically the same way as the Program Manager and the File Manager as far as the menus go. We have Options, View, and Help. Notice that Help, as we discussed earlier, is very similar. We won't go into the various features available here, but it's here for you. If you need to manipulate print jobs, you'll want to take advantage of this application. The Control panel gives us many ways to control our Windows environment. One example is the color. We can change the color by picking many of these options. Some of the colors include Arizona, Designer, Black Leather Jacket, Wingtips, and many others. We will choose Rugby. We can also change the actual color palette here if we want. We can change the color of any particular item. When we're satisfied with our colors, we choose OK. Now notice how the Windows screen has changed. For more information on changing colors, refer to the Using Windows 3.1 Advanced training video. Next, we'll look at the COM ports and the mouse settings options. Ports in the control panel allows us to set advanced information on our serial or COM ports. Notice that we can support up to 4 serial ports with Windows 3.1. Next, we have the mouse setting. The mouse settings let us set the speed that our mouse travels across the screen. These settings are a matter of personal preference. You can set these at a comfortable level for you. We can also set the double-click speed. This is the amount of time you have to produce 2 clicks and have Windows recognize these as double clicks. The test screen here changes color as we double click. Slowing the double click speed is easy to do. All we have to do is drag the button to the left. Once again, experiment with these settings until you have them just the way you want. The desktop option allows us to customize the desktop. This option and many others are explained in the ViaGrafix training video using Windows 3.1 Advanced. The 386 Enhanced mode will also be covered in that tape. This option only appears if your system is running in the 386 Enhanced mode. And also we can set our printers up and add printers as we did in the installation and setup. If we are out of country, we have the ability to change some of the international settings. These are currently listed as the defaults for the US system. We can also change the setup of our keyboard. Here we can change the keyboard repeat rate. We also have a test typing area. Notice how quickly it repeats at this fast speed. Now, look how slowly it repeats at the reduced rate. Play with this feature until you find the right setting for you. When you're satisfied, click on the OK button to move on. The date and time settings should be self-explanatory. We can use the scroll button to increase or decrease in these 2 dialog windows. We can also enter in new numbers. We also have the sound option. We can turn system warning beeps on or off here.
And we also have access to many sounds if we have a soundboard on our computer. We can also add drivers in Windows 3.1. These include MIDI and sound drivers. And another feature of Windows 3.1 is TrueType fonts. We can deal with our fonts in this menu. The Windows setup allows us to reset different options we set up initially during the Windows installation. These options are available primarily for equipment changes. We can change the display, the keyboard, and the mouse. And if we're working in a network, we can also change network settings. Notice the System Settings menu works basically the same as other Windows menus. We can also set up applications. This option works here as it did in installation. Remember that it's here if we need it.
The next item we'll cover is one of the most useful in Windows. It is the clipboard. The clipboard lets us save data to it for use in other Windows programs.
Does this look familiar? This is a section of the leaves.pmp drawing that we clipped or copied from Paintbrush. Notice that we can save this file as a different file. In this case, we'll call it test.clp. Now this is saved as a clip. We also have different settings we can change in Clipboard. The important thing to remember in Clipboard is that whenever we copy from any application, whatever has been clipped is taken directly into the clipboard. Another option is the DOS prompt. By double-clicking on this, we are taken directly into the DOS prompt. An important feature here is the ability to use the Alt-Tab keys to get back into the Windows environment. We can also do Alt-Enter to see a DOS window inside our bigger Program Manager window.
We've covered what you need to know to use Windows 3.1, but there are other ways to put this powerful program to work for you.
You'll want to use the ViaGrafix tape using Windows 3.1 Advanced to get the most from Windows. ViaGrafix also offers an extensive line of tutorials on Windows-based software. We at ViaGrafix would like to thank you for choosing our company for your computer training needs.
Remember, if you plan to learn Windows or any other computer software, there is no better way than through video training with ViaGrafix.